From the 216 The Net Studios, it's the Total BS Show. The Total BS Show is all about you, your business, your success, your struggles, the things you have been doing to take your business to the next level. Join hosts Alex Kolkowski and Kent Jones from Prime Media Consulting as they dive into the BS. Business Spotlight, that is.
Now we're good? Hey, welcome in, everybody, to today's episode of the Total BS Show. Mailbag, that's what it is. Y'all have sent us just a ton of questions over the last few weeks on some marketing and things like that. And, of course, Alex Kolkowski here to my left, your right, is the owner-operator of Prime Media Consulting and kind of the mad genius behind the Total BS Show. And what we really want to do is get out there and answer some of these questions that have come in, because they're fantastic questions. I think that can help out a lot of small business people.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this show is that it's been thought-provoking for a lot of different business owners.
Yep.
It's the stories about how they got started, the pitfalls, the successes, the journey along the way that they've taken to become successful. And so we have a lot of people that are just getting started in business, and they had some questions emailed to us on the Total BS Business Spotlight Facebook page. And so now it's time to answer some of these questions that people had.
Absolutely. And of course, as we're going through this, if you're out there, you're listening, and you have questions or you want to add something to it, feel free on the Facebook live feed to go ahead and leave us a quick comment or question.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to get other people's perspective, because even though we all think that our answer is always right, it's always good to get other people's perspective.
That's it. So I believe that the first question that we want to tackle is from Susan J. from Omaha, Nebraska. And she asks, for a new business, what should you focus on in your business? Branding, like Facebook, social media marketing, or Google, phone books? What's the way that a new business should attack?
Well, the first thing you want to do is know your demographic. So, a lot of people give, like, phone books, for example, a bad rap because who uses it anymore? Well, older people. Don't. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people 35, 34 and under don't even know what one is. Right. So the idea behind that, though, is your demographic might. So we have customers that do advertisement there, and it'd be surprising to let you know that there's a gutter guy who gets 100 calls a month from the phone book still.
Wow.
So you have to know your demographic of who uses your service. What type of person would call you for your service? Do you want people that have disposable income? Well, disposable income people probably have more are older than someone in their early 30s or younger 20s who are all on social media and everything. So target your demographic that's going to buy from you. So that's the first thing.
Right. So kind of knowing, I think what they call that is your avatar, right? Who your avatar is, who you're pointing your marketing work at. And then, so let's say you narrow it down, and let's say you're a business to business like Prime Media is.
Right. Sure.
Then where do you put that? Do you put that into social media? Do you put it into Google? Where do you go?
When you're starting a business, I've always been taught the two things you need to worry about are cash flow and customers. So when you talk about cash flow, what's going to bring in business for you? Yep. So you have to differentiate all the different marketing that you get calls on, because once you start a business, it's like, oh, now you have money. Now we want to spend your money. You got to take money to make money, right?
Everybody thinks
right. Yes. So everyone thinks that you're successful because you started a business. Well, the first thing you want to do is figure out what is branding and what is going to be lead generation to get you cash flow and customers. Yeah. So once you have defined that, branding is a great tool. I can put my logo on a Little League team. I can put my logo on a sponsorship for a charity event or a chamber event or something that you want to do. And the idea behind that is I have my logo. It's an idea where people are going to hopefully see me, and maybe they'll equate that to my business.
Right.
And then when they have the need, I can find that. That's called creative advertising. Creative advertising is direct mail. Creative advertising is billboards. Creative advertising is radio, TV, all those type of cool things to brand yourself, because it's an ego boost of seeing yourself on TV or seeing yourself on a billboard is great, but is it actually generating revenue? For example, most billboard companies don't even want you to put a phone number or website URL on there.
Right.
Because in the 7 seconds that you have to drive past that billboard, you're not going to write down their phone number. You're not going to write down the URL. So they can't really justify an ROI from that.
Right.
But things like Google, things like Facebook could be used as ways to generate your revenue. It just depends on what is going to be the best way for you and what your budget can afford.
And of course, now the billboards could, everything kind of goes around, comes around. I mean, once everybody's in a self-driving car, you might have time to call that billboard.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's a few years down the road, though.
Yeah, Tesla is not out yet. They haven't done it. They haven't got all the kinks out.
They haven't got there yet. And now when you do that, is there a budget that you think of? I mean, it takes money to make money.
Absolutely.
But you can also break your own business by putting too much money into something that's not garnering the results.
Yeah, the biggest thing that you should do when you start a business and you start doing actually marketing your business is track everything. What is doing? First of all, people don't know your phone number. I think it's ridiculous to think that I have this 815-262-312, all 630, whatever the zip code is, and your number is a local exchange. We are done with that in our world today. It is about what is your need, how can it be filled, and what am I going to do to get my name out there for you. And then whatever platform they call you on, you want to make sure that you can track and make sure it's a tangible thing, because every dollar counts when you're a small business. Every dollar matters. So you need to make sure that if I'm going to do something with the Better Business Bureau, or I'm going to do something with the Chamber, or I'm going to do something with radio or TV or phone books or whatever it is, or Facebook, that something can be tracked. And be careful to get suckered into two things. One, having that company that's going to be doing it track it, because you don't own that phone number if you ever leave them. So that's a problem. Or two, that you're not blinded by impressions or clicks. So, for example, there's a company in Florida that we work with. They put in an ad in a senior living community, and they said they guaranteed that they'd get at least 10,000 clicks to their website in month one. And you think to yourself, wow, that's awesome. I get 10,000 clicks to my website in 1 month from this group. So I said, all right, let's do it. Cost them $300 to put it in. Let's check it out. So we have tracking software that tracks how many calls they got from it. No calls. They got tracking software with Google Analytics where we said, okay, we can see where they're coming from. So they did get 10,000 clicks, but that bounce rate was 97%.
Wow.
Average time on the website, 7 seconds. So what does that kind of share with you? You got traffic, but no one ever did it, or is that legitimate traffic?
Yeah, there was no substance behind it.
So that's what we kind of preach is know your numbers, know what's going on, and how we can best make informed decisions. Part of what we do at Prime Media is we become kind of like your marketing partner, and we say, okay, what's your budget? How can we help you with your different budget? Here's where you should put some money here. Here's where you should put some money here. You're doing this already. Let's track it, make sure it's working for you, and maybe we free up some dollars that you're kind of throwing at the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Right.
So that's as a small business owner, going back to your question about what I should spend, I would probably say if you're not spending $500 to $1,000 a month at least on your business, marketing your business, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because you can only shake so many hands, you can kiss only so many babies before you get arrested. Right. And the idea behind that is you need to amplify yourself out there. You need to make sure you're growing your business by outside of just your word of mouth. You need to make sure that you are being found and people are finding you when they have that need. That's the whole purpose of Google. That's the whole purpose of phone books back in the day was I need a plumber.
I need something.
I need a this. I need a that. And that's what social media is now becoming too, is that how many people go on these social media pages and they're looking for recommendations. Yeah. Well, you don't have to pay for that, but you can market yourself on that and be an opportunity, at least get like what you call an at-bat to be found for search engines. So there's free ways to go about it, low-cost ways to go about it. But Harvard Business School tells you that if you're new in business, you should be spending between 10 and 13% of your gross revenue on marketing. If you're an established company and you're someone that has repeat customers, not once every 5-year type customers, you should be spending about 7 to 8% of your revenue.
Wow, that's cool. Great question.
Thank you, Susan.
Jay. Appreciate that. Next question. And it kind of goes same, and we might have answered it a little bit right there, but Peter S. from Naperville, Illinois asks, is social media enough? Facebook Live. So that seems to be what we're doing at Facebook Live right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people love that. And is that enough for your business?
I would say that a lot of people use it as a crutch. We talked about this earlier today in Prime Power Partners, which is a networking referral group that we have, is automation has taken over our lives. We've made things a lot easier, but it's also made things a lot more difficult to tune out, or easier to tune out too. So I can go on live right now on Facebook, and we can reach, I think on average our show reaches 8,000 to 10,000 people every week. That's great, right? People are viewing the show. How many people call you from it? That's another thing, right? Just because you broadcast out there, are people actually calling? Now, luckily, we've had a lot of people watch the show and send us emails and all that type of stuff, which is great, but sometimes people use it as a crutch too. Like, I'm going to only use social media because I don't have a marketing budget. So I'm going to do whatever I can to post and comment and share and share
It only
and
costs
share.
me $15 to push it.
You know, or I could just do it for free 5,000 times
Right.
and just get my name and number out there. And there comes a point where it becomes a product dump and people just tune out or unfriend you or unsubscribe to your feed
Right.
because they're tired of you selling to them. So you got to kind of find a common balance between social media and all the other different marketing that you're doing to make sure you're not over inundating people with that. Social media, I don't believe, is a lead generation tool. There's aspects of Facebook that is lead generation, but just posting on your business page is not lead generation in most cases.
Right. Absolutely. So, Peter S., hopefully that answers that question for you, but pretty good. There's other ways to do it, and I would look into those. Moving along. And again, if you have questions out there, that's what this is. This is a mailbag. We've got a ton of questions from a lot of people, and we're very, very grateful for that. But we thought we'd take this week and maybe 1 week out of each month moving forward on the Total BS Show, really to kind of dive into some of the questions to help businesses and small businesses grow, because that's what this show is all about.
Right. This is not about 2160net. This is not about Prime Media Consulting. Yep. We're just doing this show to help small business owners grow, learn, and hopefully implement into their business to generate more income for themselves.
Yep, beautiful. Right up the road in Wakanda, Illinois, Michaela M. or Michaela, I'm not sure. Okay. How do you build the awareness for your business quickly if you're just getting started?
Okay, so let's take this as an example. Let's say they started a plumbing business or they started a roofing company. Well, everyone tells you join the chambers, join a networking group, right? Because that's a path of least resistance for you to get in and have opportunities to meet people, shake hands, kiss babies, right? So how do you turn people's heads is the first thing you should think about. And you have your choice. Many, many people go in the, I'm going to be nice, I'm going to do everything that everyone tells me to do, I'm going to slow grow your business. Well, if you really think about it, if you start a company, and let's say you cut all ties off and I'm starting a roofing company, I'm not taking any other income from anyone else. Well, you need to make money. You have bills to pay. You have your mortgage, you have your cable bill, you have your internet, you have whatever it is, that those bills are still coming in. And your savings that you've done to cut off all your ties and start your business, that's going to start dwindling. Mm-hmm. So you need to go out there and you need to figure out a way to make an impact first. So you can be nice, you can shake hands, but you want to also be a little bit more pointed and be out there and be outspoken, because you're going to turn people's heads sometimes for the good and sometimes for the bad, depending on what you say and how you approach.
Right.
My way probably doesn't work for a lot of people. I went in like a bull in a china shop. I said, this is what people are doing wrong. And some people really like that brand of outward, in your face type of tell me what I need to do to fix it. And we fix it and they love it. Some people are like, hey, who is this person? But what did it do? It turned heads. It got awareness. It got people to know who I was quickly.
Yeah.
Then I figured I can always go back around and do a softer side of approach to gain other people in there. But I needed revenue now. So what do? You got to do something to turn people's heads and get them to know you. Otherwise, you're just one of the 50 plumbers, the 50 roofers, the 50 CPA agents, the 150 life insurance guys, the 300 real estate agents that are in the chamber. There is no difference between you and Susie Smith, who's a realtor, except for if you are the one making the noise and generate, but you also have to back up your noise.
Right, absolutely.
So
that'd be strong public.
Right.
And I was thinking about that with that question. A lot of times in a small business, you don't start with an entire staff. You don't start with a marketing company. You don't start with a marketing department, anything like that. It's you against the world.
Right.
And how you can quickly, build awareness is you got to create as many raving fans as you possibly can. So it is work hard and do great work. Back it up to your point. But then you gotta get those people talking about you as well.
Right.
And if you can't create those raving fans, I think that as you're starting, you got to figure out that way to get those people to just, holy cow, these guys are awesome.
So I think there's the implementation of, or the strategy of how you acquire a customer and what do you do once you get that customer. So you spend most companies spend a crap load of money trying to acquire a new customer.
Yeah.
They'll court you, they'll love on you, and then once the sale is done, they kind of wipe it away.
Hey, $300 to open a new checking account.
Thank you so much. Yeah, right? So the idea is you finally get the customer. How do you transition them to be an influencer or an advocate for your business? Yeah. That is a cultivation, and there's a unique strategy to do that, to make yourself different after the sale. And you have to deliver on the things that you say you're going to do for them. But once you do that, how do you build that and grow that relationship to say, hey, you need to check out Susie. She's a great realtor. She did this, and this. No one's ever done that for me before. No one's ever did this for me. They just want to get my listing.
Yep.
So you have to figure out ways to make yourself unique. You have to find that unique selling proposition to say, hey, I know there's 500 different realtors in this one town that you can choose from, but here's why you're going to choose me, and here's why you're going to like doing it. And then eventually, here's why we're going to build that relationship. For example, there's a realtor in McHenry, Illinois, who every year rents out a whole movie theater.
Yeah.
And she will do a client appreciation day for those clients that she served this year or in the past. What does that do? That's something no other person's actually doing for them.
That's cool.
But it's building that brand and keeping that relationship going, so when someone has a need, hopefully that person thinks of, I'm going to choose that person.
And hopefully it's a good movie.
Hopefully it's a good movie. Yeah. There's that issue.
Movie.
Yeah.
I think that's true across the board, especially trying to get out there quickly, and build that awareness. Is a lot of times our nose, we're gonna work and work and work and work, and grind and grind and grind, and in the back of our heads we're like, hey, that's quality work, and they're gonna notice that.
Yep.
But you have to have multiple avenues, I guess. Yeah, do your work, grind it out, and do excellent quality work. But it's not 1919 anymore, where they're going to say, well, Alex is the best realtor.
Right, because they're inundated. I mean, your world now, we've streamlined our mental processes so much where we block out all the different noise, and we're basically in tunnel vision our entire day until we get home, where you can maybe put on Netflix and watch Lock and Key. Great show, by the way. Free plug for Netflix.
That's it.
Checks in the mail.
That's right.
But the idea behind this is that you have to do something to continue that repetition and continue that relationship. So Kent, who I might have sold something to 3 months ago, doesn't have someone else come in and say, hey, we can do something for you too.
Right.
Or, hey, are you sure you're happy with that person? Have you talked to that person in a while? There should be something that makes you unique to continue to cultivate that relationship so you don't lose them, but more importantly, turn them to be advocates in your business. If you can make them an advocate for you, you've hit the gold mine.
Right. And I don't think that's begging. Please.
Yeah.
Can you go out and give me a 5-star?
I need more shares, please. Can you like my business more?
Right.
I need to get to 500. I need to get to
Share
100.
it with your friends.
200. Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
What's easy, okay?
Not quite the same raving fans that we're talking about. So there you go, Michaela. Hopefully that helps you out there. We got one from Tim in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Tim J.
Okay.
And he's pretty upfront and says, "Hey, I don't understand marketing.
Okay.
But there's YouTube and other information out there to do it myself.
Yep.
And there are a plethora of things.
Yeah.
Why would I, as a small business owner, why would I hire someone to do that then?
Okay.
If I can do it myself.
That's a great question, Tim. What I would probably say is this: you started a plumbing company, you started a roofing company, you did whatever because you enjoy roofing.
Yeah.
How much do you like opening your books and doing the bookkeeping? How much do you enjoy doing the CPA work? Do you like doing the insurance work, the legality side, right? A lot of business owners fail in business because they try to know everything. They try and do everything themselves, and they get burnt out so quickly.
Yeah.
So the key is, I think Gary Vee said this before, is you double down on what you love and what you're good at, and you figure out what you can do without or have someone do for you, and just make sure that gets done. Because your sole goal as a business owner is enjoying what you do.
Yeah.
So why would you inundate yourself with things that you're not good at and try and fail at just to maybe be decent at down the road?
Yeah. So we always talk about the small business being your baby.
Right.
And this is your baby. And I don't want to trust anyone with my baby. That's true, but you still take that baby to the doctor for the checkups.
Yep.
You still take that baby to the eye doctor to make sure the eyes are good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing. Is you're not necessarily giving control to your marketing arm or the company or person who's going to help you with that marketing, but you're saying, go ahead and
for this one piece, I want you to handle this. I want you to give me the healthy checkup. I want to make sure everything's going well, that you're doing what you're doing, that you're saying what you're doing, what you're saying, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I absolutely. The reason is some people are really good at some things.
Yeah.
Some people are not good at everything. I haven't really found many people that are really good at the sales and the operations and the bookkeeping and the legalities and the fulfillment side. You can't do everything perfect. I haven't found a single business owner that's been able to do all of that.
Well, and on the same side of that, though, you have to be smart enough, because it is your baby, to have some sort of check and balance in there. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm giving you money to, and you said you're going to get me leads.
Right.
There's got to be that point, and we see it in marketing all the time, where perhaps a company comes in and promises the world, and they sign a big contract.
Yep.
And yep, we give you a shiny item right here, let's say, and you're focused there, but the other pieces of that contract have fallen away. They're not living up to their end because I blindly trusted them because they're big and they're everywhere or whatever.
Yeah.
And to your point, then, as you said earlier, there's probably some things that you're just throwing money at that it's not sticking.
Yeah, I mean, I think every business makes mistakes into who you trust early on because everyone wants to help you, but everyone wants to help you because they want to get paid.
Right.
So there not many people just want to give you free advice and will continue giving you free advice. At some point, there's a dollar attached to that.
Yeah.
And so I would probably question, once the dollar starts coming out, where is that dollar going?
Right.
Am I seeing myself, like in our world, I have a company that says, hey, I want to show up on the front page of keywords for these 10 keywords. Okay. My job is to hopefully get you on the front page of that. I can't promise that,
right,
but I can do my damnedest to get you there.
Like heck, yeah.
And we do a pretty damn good job getting you there. But we're bound by Google, for example. Everyone wants to get on the front page of Google, but if Google changes their algorithm, let's say you're on the front page, I'm on page 3, you're like, oh, Alex, what the hell's going on? Well, Google changed their algorithm. We've got to update it. But that's why we track everything, and we show every day. I can pull a report to see where you've moved up or down on the rankings for the keywords that you chose to be part of. So there's that accountability that's part of it, that you need to make sure that if you're hiring a marketing company, they have some sort of measure of accountability.
Right.
Are they tracking your calls? Which we already said before, probably not good that they do it, but at least if that's the option that you have, that someone's doing it for you. Are they showing you how many clicks and impressions you had? Well, we talked about that. I can hire someone for $10 to get you 10,000 impressions and 10,000
people
clicks.
in India,
right? But what are those things actually doing in our world? The meter of success is, where am I on the front page of Google?
Yeah, and so I think that's huge. And as a business owner, a lot of times we get wrapped up in the jobs that we're doing, and we blindly trust those that we probably shouldn't.
Sure.
So you always want to make sure that there's a check and balance, that that things are right.
Yeah, I mean, just if you think about our business, I'm sure you can go on YouTube and learn and spend 25 hours, 30 hours to try and learn everything you can about optimization, right? Then you have to learn how to optimize an actual website. So you need to learn about coding, right? So, or you can hire someone to do it. How many hours do you have in your day that is best to be working on your business as opposed to the marketing? Well, now you duplicate yourself. The whole goal of business owner is to then eventually duplicate yourself, so you're not in the worker mentality. You're the owner.
Yeah.
You have other people doing it. Well, you're hindering yourself from doing that out the gate because you have to control everything. If you control everything, eventually you'll control nothing when your business closes.
Interesting. So, good question out there.
Thanks, Tim.
Tim from Grand Rapids. And oddly, here there's another Tim that kind of layers on top of that I want to put out there too, and it kind of goes to what we're talking about in that blind trust. But Tim S from Orlando, Florida, says there are so many choices out there to choose. How do you know if someone is great at what they do in marketing for my business? So
That's good. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you have to look at the reviews. I mean, if people are good at what they do, they probably get good reviews on Google or Facebook or all their different things there. But at the end of the day, it's looking someone in the eye and say, "Hey, I think this person can do it." So you got to be a good judge of character.
Yeah.
If they really think they can do it, but don't lock yourself into something. Make sure you have an out in case things are going south. Do short-term contracts. Do 6-month contracts. Don't do 2-year contracts or 15-month contracts or whatever it is. And there's one company that builds websites for legal firms that it's like a 4-year contract. Good, bad, or ugly, you're in there for 4 years. Otherwise, you have to pay an exorbitant. You have to pay that entire contract off to get out of the contract. If good, bad, or ugly.
Wow.
So, I mean, why would you do that? You're shackling yourself to somebody that they sold you a long-term commitment. And if it doesn't work for you, you're screwed. You should always have an agile company. You should always have an agile business yourself. Yeah. So you can try new things, check someone out, and if things don't work, you can go somewhere else. I've never been upset with somebody that says, "Hey, Alex, I'm going to try another different company." Because usually they'll come back because they're not getting the value from that because we kind of custom tailor things for them as opposed to canned products and canned services for that other companies do.
Awesome. Good question, Tim. Good question to follow up there. Of course, you've got the Total BS Show. I'm Kent Jones along with Alex Kolkowski over here at Prime Media Consulting. And today is a grab bag day. We opened up the emails and we're answering as many questions as we possibly can. We've had some good ones. And if you have any questions that are on your mind about marketing or business or the State of the Union, I don't know. Go ahead and ask us, right?
Yeah, the State of the Union I'm probably going to stay away from. But for the most part, we will answer most questions that you have in regards to marketing. We've actually got a ton of duplicate emails because everyone seems to be trying to ask the same thing. Mm-hmm. It looks like a lot of people who are younger in business. And so it's nice to kind of go through that because having an established business is really fun because you could kind of help someone along the way. And we noticed that with Prime Power Partners is that we have a mixture of new businesses and we have a mixture of smaller companies. Yeah. And the smaller companies are always trying to prick the brains of how did you become successful? What happened? What was that thing that made you go? And there's nothing better for a larger company to kind of puff their chest and have that ego scratch. Be like, here's what I did, son. Here's what I did, lady.
Let me
tell you about my day.
That's right.
But you have to know someone that can help you through the minefield. Yeah. As a business, when you decide to cast that net and become a business owner, you basically become on an island. And our pride and our ego does not let us say we have problems. You go to different functions. How are you doing today? Oh, business is great. Everything is doing great. Oh, it's fantastic. Well, no, it's probably not. But you have to show that it is because how could you ever let someone know that you're struggling?
Right.
So I would probably say for somebody,
I'm just thinking that if you were totally honest with, well, right now business sucks, but I was hoping that you were going to refer me.
Yeah.
See the look on their face like, what?
I'm
going to go get a beer.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing is like we live on an island so much where our ego doesn't let us kind of reach over to the other side to ask for help. But if we have that opportunity to do that, there's so many things you can learn from that hand extension. Yeah. You can learn from someone that's been in business for 10 years, 15 years. And we've seen that with our own groups of sharing the advice, the workshops that we've been doing with small business owners to say, hey, here's a topic. How do you get over this circumstance? And it's been really well received from a lot of different small business owners.
I think when you jump into business, whether it's HR, whether it's plumbing, whether it's making widgets, whatever the case may be, you got to take a look at how you build a house, right? There's different there's different companies and people that put this house together. You get the guy who clears out the dirt and digs the hole. You get the concrete guys who come in and make the foundation. You then have, you know, the carpenters who stick the walls, and then the heating and the electrician, and it all kind of goes together in a format.
Right.
And you're building your business the same way, that way. And, you know, yeah, I might have my electrician's license and be a carpenter, but does it make sense for me to do all the electrical work on every house that I build or remodel? So you got to kind of look at it and say there are different facets to owning a business other than just creating those widgets. You know, there's all the back end, the bookkeeping. Do I have a good bookkeeper? Do I have a good HR person? You know, there are things and layers in a business that you have to be humble enough to say, I can't do it all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone goes into business thinking, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life as the plumber, as the roofer,
right,
as the bookkeeper, as the whatever. Because if you had that mindset, you'd just be an employee. Because you could be that for 30 years, 40 years. Right. The idea of being a business owner is you kind of selfishly want more. And you want to become the guy that can have maybe 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 employees and have managers that kind of manage the employees so you can focus on the things that you love doing. And maybe you're passionate about a certain thing, but you're better as the overall big picture thinker and not as the day-to-day person.
Yeah.
And so you need to find someone that can do the day-to-day stuff. You need to find the bookkeeper that can do the numbers for you. Like for me, my biggest struggle is the operations bookkeeping side of things. So I hired someone to handle that for me because I don't have to spend hours sitting at QuickBooks like, how do I carry this over?
Right.
Why does my ledger say I made way more than I actually did?
That's the 4th computer I threw against the wall this week.
Right. But if you had someone that you know and trust to handle that type of stuff at a reasonable rate that can manage and you can still go out and do what you do, imagine the hours that you spent bookkeeping by yourself.
Right.
Just bookkeeping. Most people probably spend 2 to 3 hours a week on that by itself if you have a legitimate business. Right. That's 10, 12 hours a month that you can go into actually marketing your business, promoting your business, working in your business as opposed to just working on something that most people freaking hate.
Right. And which at that point, when does it roll into your business day? When does it roll into your workflow? And it doesn't. I mean, what happens is you wait until midnight, before tax time, and you got this shoebox full of stuff. You're tired. You're frustrated because you hate it. It's not going to go easy. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
And what you hate doing always gets pushed off to the last.
Yep.
So, good stuff. Now, there's a couple of guys out here, Jerry from Cedar Rapids and Chris from Temecula, California. They ask, how do I get on this show to promote my business? How do I get on the Total BS show?
Well, there's a couple different ways. We set this up on purpose to be a promotion of small business owners. Yeah. There's not a lot of formats that allow you to promote your business at an affordable price to really get out there and tell your story. The reason why it's an hour-long format to ask you questions is because people are tired of you selling them. They're tired of you going on Facebook telling how great you are or how great your company is or what you can do for them. They're tired of the billboards, the TVs, the direct mails. We're all inundated with that anyways. But you know what people love? Hearing their story, hearing the struggles, hearing the things that made them successful has been huge. And that's why we're getting a lot of feedback and positive feedback about this show is that we are able to have an hour format where we're not selling anything.
Right.
We're not selling Prime Media. We're not selling 216 The Net. We're not selling the business of the person that we're spotlighting. We're just hearing their story. But what does that do? It makes you human.
Yeah.
Makes you know who you are. Makes them know who you are. And people like to, as some people say, know, like, and trust. People love to buy that. There's no better way than candid conversation about your struggle and your journey. So imagine putting an hour together where we talk about topics that impact your business that you can share on Facebook, you can share on your website, you can share on all the other different platforms to really get to know who you are and humanize yourself, and not some robot business owner that most people seem to think of when you find a successful business. They don't think of Jeff Bezos sitting in a small 1-bedroom or 500 square foot building with spray paint Amazon on a banner. They think of the big conglomerate who makes billions and billions of dollars. Well, damn, that guy deserves every freaking dollar he did. We're in a capitalist society. The guy has built an empire, but it started in one room. Celebrate the success from somebody. Don't think that person's doing something wrong. You have every chance to make the next something as long as you work your ass off to do it. So this is a good platform for you, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Naipinga, how are you? Sheila, love you. Thanks for tuning in from Kenya. You are the bomb. Appreciate that. She's got a couple of good shows over there as well. Should tune into. Here's a good question that Jennifer from Arlington Heights says. She follows the show and has watched it a couple of times. She says, I watched your show before, and you talked about active marketing versus passive marketing.
Okay.
And I think it's important to touch base again with, because a lot of business owners, maybe even a lot of marketing people, get stuck in a lane, but they don't know the difference between the active and the passive marketing.
Sure. So active marketing is you actively going out to get to meet people. You go to chamber events, you go to networking events, you go to BNIs, you go to all the different things, you go to Prime Power Partners, you go to all the other different stuff, and you're actively trading your time and for the opportunity for a lead. You're cultivating the relationship. The great thing about active marketing is that it does provide a great opportunity to build relationships. Relationships is the thing that's going to start hopefully getting you referrals if you can execute well. The problem with active marketing is that it's incredibly slow. Again, we talked about you need to make money fast when you're a small business owner. So you need to generate income. Active marketing is a very slow play. It's a great play, but it's a slow play. So passive marketing is somebody who has the need. They're just trying to figure out how to fulfill that need. So you're doing a lot more of upfront marketing. You're building your website out for that opportunity, if that at bat, as we like to say. You're building your social media brand by part of the group. So when someone's searching, that you're getting tagged on. You're doing a great example. Phone books back in the day, that was passive marketing. You don't pick up a phone book because you love it and you want to look at all the pretty pictures. There's no good pictures in the phone book.
No, there's not.
The idea, if you want a good picture, you look at National Geographic.
There you go.
Or other ones.
No, it was just great photography.
Great photography. But if you want if you have a need, if you need a plumber, you need a roofer, whatever, you want to get that problem solved. You need to scratch that itch.
Yep.
So passive marketing is doing a lot of upfront work to get that inbound warmer lead.
Yeah.
They already have the need. They picked you. They called you for it. Now, how do you cultivate that relationship? It's an easier sell, but it does take more money up front to execute. So as a business owner, you got to have a balance of active marketing and passive marketing. What are you going to trade your time for, and what are you going to pay someone else to build something up for you?
Yeah.
So when they have that need, they think of you.
That's it.
So that's kind of the 20,000-foot view of what is active versus passive marketing.
And that passive is you're right on the top of their mind, or right in front of them when they need you.
Correct.
That's it. Nice. Travis G. from Houston asks, Google is so expensive to market on. What other ways can I grow my business?
Well, I mean, depends on the business. I mean, I have roofing companies that spend $800 a day on Google AdWords.
Wow.
I have customers that spend $10 a day on Google AdWords. It really depends on what your industry is and what you're looking to do with it. Google is the biggest beast. I think 85, 86, 87% of all searches are done on Google. So you have to play with that elephant in the room. What we've found is when we've done Bing ads or Yahoo ads, well, they might be $5, $6 a click cheaper for the big keywords, but the click to call ratio is a lot lower.
Wow.
So what do you do when it comes? So is spending less money on Yahoo and Bing getting more clicks better? Maybe, but if the click to call, that's why we talked about tracking everything, making sure things are actually working for you versus just saying, hey, I can get something done cheaper here. Great thing about optimization is that if you build your website correctly and you can optimize your website, SEO is what they call search engine optimization, then if you can be on the front page for plumber in this or widget spinner in this town or whatever, you don't have to pay for that click as much anymore because you're there, and you just have to worry about Google shuffling the deck. People love pay per click or Google ads. And the reason why I'm guessing this person says it's so expensive is it is. You're paying to rent your spot on Google. There used to be 3 positions at the top, 7 positions on the right-hand side of a Google search, and then 3 at the bottom. So it was at 13 spots where you could pay to show up on Google searches. Well, Google realizes that people are going more mobile and they're not seeing the right-hand side, so they got rid of that. But what did that do? That's 7 spots on the right-hand side that were eliminated, so that drove the auction price on Google AdWords up higher because now it's more competitive to get these spots. So what might have cost $5 now costs $8. What might have cost $25 might cost $30. And all the businesses want to be there, so it's driving the auction up. So are there inexpensive options to do? Absolutely. You can do a lot of different things with targeting Google to be found on those search engines. But there's a lot of other things, like Facebook groups is huge. You don't have to pay a dime for that.
Right.
Join a couple of Facebook groups in your local area and so when someone says, hey, I need a widget spinner guy, you can show up for that. Or you have an opportunity to have an at-bat to get that.
Yeah. Nice. That is what I've got in my mailbag. I don't know if you guys have any more questions in your mailbag. You got 5, 6, 7, or 8 of them? Well, go ahead. The producer, throw it up there. Let's see what it is.
All right. What's the biggest bang for my buck on marketing? And that's Kevin K. from Seattle, Washington.
All right, so Kevin K. Seattle, Washington had what's the biggest bang for your buck? It really depends. It's a hard question to answer because what do you consider bang for your buck? Right. Do you consider impressions? Do you consider clicks? Do you consider phone calls? They're all relative. So, and everything works. Direct mail works as much as people throw shit away. Sorry. So it all works, right? It just depends on how often you're going to do it and what is the opportune time. You don't sell pools in the middle of December. You want to do it in the springtime. Right. You don't sell pools really in July or August because the season's pretty much over.
Right. You don't sell ice rinks in July.
Right.
But it goes back to what you said earlier too. Is what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get the phone to ring? Are you trying to get leads? Or are you trying to brand?
Right.
So if you're like, I need to get my brand out there, and what I think probably might be the most recognizable is the swoosh. Yeah. Right. And that way, if I see it everywhere, and then I walk into a store and I need a pair of shoes, I think of that thing. Right.
Right.
Or we can overprice things with a guy walking on the air.
Right.
But
Jesus.
Yeah. Air Jesus. But the interesting thing is that I think it is, again, are you trying to brand or are you trying to lead generate? If you're trying to lead generate, then you know where to put your money into. Yeah. You don't put it into branding.
Correct.
So,
and the funny thing is I truly believe the people that are spending more money get the better bang for your buck because you can make decisions faster with data. Yeah. Is that if I spend $10,000 or I spend $5,000, I can get a really good sample size versus if I spend $200. Right? I can't really make decisions off of $200. Right. That's 1 week on Google maybe.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to who your avatar is. I mean, there are people out there that you can lead generate on Craigslist, but is that your avatar? And if the answer is no, then you don't want to spend money there. So.
Right. So I mean, it's a hard question to ask or answer. But if I did have to, that'd be more of a personal about you, what you're trying to accomplish question.
Another one is there were some that kind of repeated themselves. If there's one out there that doesn't repeat themselves, Mr. Producer, we're rolling into the last 15 minutes.
We had one about the noise or people that are doubters or things like that.
True.
So I believe that one is coming up. Do we have that?
Yeah, we do. It's actually
Beautiful.
What's the question? Can you tell us the question real quick?
How do you handle the doubters or people who don't really support you?
How do you handle the doubters or people that don't really support you in business?
Karen B. from Jacksonville,
Thanks,
you, Karen.
Let me handle that one if I can.
Yeah.
You had said it a little bit earlier in the show, is that when you become the entrepreneur and you strike out on your own, you've now gone upstream. You're an island, and people who love you and are your best friends, people who were perhaps your managers at your old job or whatever, will tell you you're crazy because they don't have the guts to do it. Number one.
All right.
But it always, and I shared this story this morning at Prime Power Partners, is if you take a look at an orchestra, the conductor is a guy or gal who played an instrument and became an expert at that instrument.
Right.
Became so well that they said, we want you to lead the band or the orchestra. And there are people in a show, if you think of an orchestra, if you've gone to a concert, the conductor's back is to the audience. The conductor really doesn't care what the audience is doing, whether they're throwing popcorn at each other, whether they're yawning, whether they're excited, crying, throwing up, whatever. So the interesting thing is when the conductor's main focus is on making beautiful music out of all the pieces of instruments and pieces that are in this orchestra. So their whole job is to focus on what they're doing, and it's to create that beautiful music. Your whole job as an entrepreneur is to create beautiful music with your company, and you have to make it sing. And if all of a sudden that conductor were to turn around and not pay attention to anything, well, the trumpets would start playing the Star-Spangled Banner. The cellos would start playing My Country 'Tis of Thee. It would sound horrible.
Someone would play Baby Got Back, right?
Would have to, the bass drums, right? And if they started listening and they saw everything that's going on, the maestro or the conductor would probably go, "This is crap. I'm out of here. This is ridiculous."
Right.
And would probably never be asked back again because the music sounded horrible. So as a business owner, I think you have to be the maestro. I think you have to turn your back to the crowd, even to your family, because your family doesn't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to fail. Hey, we support you. We love you. Oh God, here he goes.
This is the fifth thing he's tried.
Hey, your uncle tried that and didn't work for him either. I think what you really have to do is pay attention to your orchestra, and that's your business.
Yeah.
And know and understand the different pieces of that business, and again, allow the trumpeters to trumpet, allow the cellos to cello, and allow everybody to do their work to make this beautiful music. And then when you're successful, that's when at the end of the concert, the conductor turns around and takes a bow and then says, "Here you go, look what we did here." And that's when you kind of give the old bird to those naysayers or whatever, and who haven't, is look what I've done.
Well, it's interesting because everyone wants to give you their free advice, right?
Yep.
Everyone wants to tell you, here's what I would do, and a lot of it comes unsolicited.
Yeah.
What I would say is you hear a lot of people trying to give you the advice, and they usually have some sort of selfish intent into that. So you kind of block out the advice versus what is their reason behind the advice. Maybe you can differentiate the two, but more importantly, those people that were your detractors, the naysayers, will eventually, when you start becoming successful, they'll start becoming your advocates. I knew he could do it. I was there all along. I knew him when.
His first album.
That's right. That's right. And so it's so interesting as a business owner. I've talked to so many people that are successful. I mean, there's a roofer that was on the show a couple weeks ago, and we have that laugh all the time about what did they do when everyone was saying no, and now they become successful, and everyone's like, "I know you can do it," or "I need your help," or whatever. And it's interesting that successful people quickly hear back from the people who were the naysayers first.
Isn't that interesting? Well, and there's going to be the other your competitors.
Oh yeah, you got the competitors who you're turning, if you're doing it right, you're turning people's heads.
Yeah.
So there's an established market, right?
Yeah.
You're not the first roofer that's ever been in McHenry. You're not the first plumber that's ever been in McHenry. You're not the first marketing company that's ever been in McHenry. Whatever it is, right? You're trying to plant your flag and go. And you have people who have been there established, and now you're turning people's heads like, I thought this person was the expert. Who's this person? Right? And that person is no longer getting the fanfare that they might have been. So what do? They try to discredit to shut you down.
That's right.
And that's interesting. As I've never thought of anyone as any type of competitor.
Cool.
Right? Anyone local. I know there's a lot of companies I work with, and we kind of have the same mindset. Is that you do you, boo. You know, that's pretty much how everyone works in my world that I try and work with.
Collaborate.
How can I collaborate with you to make it successful? So, yeah, we work with website companies. In our company, we work with other social media companies, trying to see, all right, this is your piece of the pie. This is what you're good at. Here's what we want to work on. How can we be in harmony together? Be that maestro that kind of handles everything. So many businesses think of competitors as bad. Like, I don't know why.
Right.
Yeah, you might have a different client here. There's plenty of fish in the water to fish from. You might have a little bit of dip here and there, but if you do it right, you can really make some great music by working together.
Yeah.
And the rising tide thing really does work.
So there's the Michael Jordan rule. Of course, Michael Jordan, one of the best basketball players of all time, is that the amazing thing is when he was on the basketball court, the opposing team's production raised by 14%.
Wow.
As opposed to when he was off. His own teams raised like 7%. And if he went and sat on the bench, then both teams' production dropped.
Wow.
So to that point, a competitor is good for you. They're doing things perhaps great that you're not.
Yeah.
And learn from it and collaborate with them and make it yours and get there. I mean, that's the cool thing with that is, wow, how did you come up with that? Tell me about that. And if they're any kind of human being, they'll tell you, you know.
I think early on when I first started, probably 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago now, it was I started based off of the FU model.
Yeah.
FU, I'm going to just go, burn it all down and go, run it through you, right? And the more I think about it, that first 3 months, 4 months of me launching something probably was a mistake in going that route. So since let's just say that was the first half year of doing business. 4 years since then, I've just been saying, hey, I have no competitors. There's no one that I would say is my competitor. We have people that do what we do, but we don't have competitors.
Right.
It's just a matter of if you want to work with them, great. If we can collaborate somehow to work together, great. People don't seem to get that because they're used to the me or them type of mentality. Right. And I just shut that down because I don't have a competitor.
Right.
The only competitor I have is myself.
Right. The United States Postal Service felt that the Amazon was a competitor, but now they deliver a lot of Amazon packages. Yeah. Now they collaborate, you know, so it's interesting. That
Kohl's, same way.
Yeah, Kohl's, right.
Yeah, Toys R Us. Well, that Toys R Us actually got eaten by them. But yeah, there's a deal about negotiation that you need to worry. That's a great research tool about. You run a business study, think of the Toys R Us Amazon model.
Yeah. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook and I seem a little washed out, I do have my winter tan going. I'm more of a Casper person today. Any other questions out there? We got about 6 minutes. Anything else out there? Anybody out there in the Facebook land have? It looks like that's it. Here's the cool thing that I love about the Total BS Show, and if you've followed us and been with us, you know it started out as McHenry County BS.
Correct.
And we grew, and I think this show is a prime example of what a business can and should be as well.
Correct.
Is you have to be strong and confident in what you're delivering, but you also have to remain flexible. now we understood that, well, we're limiting ourselves if we keep it McHenry County BS. So we came up with Total BS.
Yep.
And now we're getting people from all around the United States, Kenya. I mean, we're getting people from all over, which is great because I think business is a universal language. Doesn't matter if you're in Germany or you're in Australia or in Naperville.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can learn from it. The great thing about this show is when we do the mailbag, I think we're going to do that either if it's not in a weekly setup or a monthly setup, we'll try and do maybe a behind the scenes one where we kind of preload it. But the cool thing is everyone seems to be having the same questions across the board. If we just look at all the emails that came in, it was all kind of around the same topics.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it just goes to show, to your point, that everyone is dealing with the same thing. But how do you find a voice that can help you navigate that's not trying to sell you? We're not selling you anything on here.
Right.
We're just trying to showcase your business. But if you want to showcase your business, it is a pay-to-play program.
That is.
So we have a long list. Right now we're booking into April at the moment, mid-April.
Tax day.
So if you want to be on the show, contact us right on through Facebook at the Total BS Show or Total BS Business Spotlight, because that's what BS stands for, Business Spotlight.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, but contact us, get a date on there. We'll ask you questions about why we should choose you to be on the show. But more importantly, let's figure out your story. Let's figure out what makes you successful. So when you do decide to use this for your marketing tools, you'll be like, I want to really showcase I did this in my journey. All right, well, we'll kind of broadcast the show around what you want to spotlight.
Yep.
And so that's what's great.
That is awesome. So we're rolled into about 4 minutes left. Anything else that's on your plate that you want to give out there?
Now I'm excited because in next month, I believe, I'll probably go into April, we're going to launch Total BS West Coast. So
West Coast, baby.
Total BS West Coast is going to be, we're going to have some customers that are local to the Southern California region. And we're going to spotlight their business as well. So we'll have a show here in the Midwest and a show here in the West Coast, and we'll kind of work together on everything.
And it's awesome because we are on the interweb, so we've got the technology to meet you wherever you're at.
Yep.
You can
just Skype in, Zoom in.
Wherever you're out in the vineyards of Northern California, we can Skype you right in.
Right. I think we had Zuck ask if they can. We said no to him.
We can also take any free samples of wine if you want to mail them to. Here's a sip. But no, thanks, Alex, for this. Is just I appreciate you because not many people who are not quote unquote gurus, right? Would take the time to help people out like this in their, give away some secrets and things of that nature.
Yeah, why spend $50 to go to a class or $399 to go to a seminar or $500 to travel to on airfare just to go to New York or go to Las Vegas or whatever to take a class on something where you can just ask a question and maybe we have the right answer. Maybe we don't.
Yeah, maybe we don't.
But it's at least another perspective from other business owners. Because that's, I think, what we're all trying to do is get better. And we get lost in our own trees and we don't see this forest.
Yeah.
But from someone's perspective across the country, we can be like, hey, stupid, here's what you're doing wrong.
Right.
Because there's nothing wrong with someone who doesn't know you saying how to fix it.
Right.
And sometimes it's the competitors might even bring up, say, hey, here's what happened to me. And it's nice because they're in Georgia and you're talking to someone in New York and there's no competition. So I can be more free with that.
That's it. And of course, the Total BS page is, if somebody's got a question or comment, they can post it right out there.
Yep.
We can work with them.
Message us right on the Total BS Show, right on Facebook, or you can contact us at Prime Media Consulting with the primemediaconsulting.com with the subject line Total BS Show question.
That's it. Awesome.
So,
for Kent Jones and
Alex Kolkoski,
this has been this episode of the Total BS Show.
Mailbag.
Hashtag Green Street.
Wait for it, producer.
Yeah.
We're waiting for it. We're still running.
Are we on?
Are we on deleted scenes? We're on deleted scenes right now. I'm saying stuff because we don't have I don't have anything else to do.
That's it for another hour of the Total BS Show. If you enjoyed this past hour, please like and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube channels. Tune in next week as we spotlight yet another business and dive into even more BS.
So much BS.
A lot of BS.
Swim in it.
Just backstroking.
Dive into it.
That's it. Can you believe he pays us for this?
Who does?
Zuck?
Have you gotten the check yet?
I haven't. You got it?
No. Should we be doing that?